What's up, everybody? I'm Barry Henning, and I want to introduce you to the new champ of the 1000cc class, the new 2005 GSX-R1000. This motorcycle dynos more horsepower than any leader bike in the class, and if you've got the nerve to hold the throttle open, you're going to know what I'm talking about. This bike has a brand new chassis for 2005, so it handles like a 600, but with like 3 times the horsepower. Suzuki has absolutely raised the roof on sport bike performance with the 2005 GSX-R1000. So bring your R1s, bring your Ninjas. This bike will flatten them all.
Perhaps once upon a time, this GSX-R was the pinnacle of sport bike performance, but clearly those days are long gone. Now we have superbikes with 200 horsepower. Wheelie control, traction control, launch control, wings. There are materials and technology that didn't even exist in 2005. We have machines such as Ducati's Panigale V4.
And I'm not really sold on all this technology. I mean, it's cool, it's certainly impressive, but I'm not convinced that any of it really makes a motorcycle better.
I mean, there's no way that that's not more advanced and better than this is.
It's a point we're gonna have to prove, I guess.
You're gonna have to put your bike together before we prove it.
Yeah, there's a little bit of work, but constant state of improvement over there. Not that the K5 Gixxer can actually be improved upon.
We're gonna try and settle this debate once and for all, we hope, with Ari's lovely example of a K5 GSX-R1000 and that 2020 Ducati Panigale V4 S.
We have a road trip planned, we have a racetrack rented, and we're going to use all of that to see what difference 15 years of progress has made in superbike performance.
As a refresher for everyone, the Panigale V4 is an 1100cc engine, makes claimed 214 horsepower, it weighs a claimed 430 pounds, and it costs $28,000. For impact, maybe Ari can present the specs of his motorcycle right now.
Well, when it was new, Suzuki was claiming about 170 horsepower, and it weighed in at about 440 pounds. And in 2005, it cost less than 11,000 bucks. However, I got this gem for $3 grand.
Well, sort of. What can you tell everyone about the brake systems and some of the bearings and the clutch and the seat and the tires and the clip-ons?
I can tell you that it's all new as well as some other stuff because the motorcycle's got 55,000 miles on it, enough miles to go around the planet twice. I was just kind of restoring it to its former glory.
It sounds like cheater talk to me. You actually think it's going to compete with this mamma jamma?
I sure hope so. Can't even hear mine over it. That thing's stealing all the thunder already. Woo.
Our final destination was Buttonwillow Raceway, a few hours north of Los Angeles. But since we wanted to compare these sporting machines as daily riders, we planned to spend a couple of days getting there, hitting a mix of canyon twisties, city streets, and of course, unavoidable stretches of highway.
I did just realize that my speedometer does not work. At all. This motorcycle might have a lot more than 55,000 miles on it.
So you're just reading 0 miles an hour right now?
I'm currently going 0 miles an hour in 6th gear at 7,000 RPM. Oh, sorry, that's 5. Yeah. Well, the axle hasn't fallen out and a brake line hasn't ruptured, so I call that a win considering all the work that went on.
Congratulations, by the way.
I am enjoying riding this motorcycle. It still works remarkably well. Like, feels planted, feels nimble, suspension feels good, engine feels super strong, revs easily, and even if it's old and janky looking, it's not all like rattly and clapped out feeling, you know?
Does it feel like, I don't know, someone rebuilt all of the pivots and contact points with the bike? Something like that?
Yeah, it does, but it's not just because I replaced it and serviced it. Like, the fact of the matter is, this bike is built on really good bones. This is a legendary model, the K5. Suzuki had just figured it out. It's got stomping mid-range and top end. It has a good chassis. It had good brakes.
So it's the perfect sport bike then?
It is, actually. It was, and it still is.
I do think it's interesting that it basically hasn't evolved since 2005 or 6, right? I mean, it's the same basic design, yeah?
Why fix it if it ain't broken, man?
Well, on the flip side of things, Ducati has been the poster child of technological advancement and design advancement, right? I mean, if you think about the contemporary Ducati to K5 GSX-R, that was a 1000cc V-twin in a steel trellis frame that, like, Ducati has had at least 3 seismic reiterations of their flagship superbike. They didn't have a frame for a while. Now it's got 4 cylinders.
Yeah.
It's totally different, which is maybe one of the reasons that it's at or near the top of the superbike heap in 2020. They've also sort of broken the mold with Ducati superbike folklore, I think, because typically all those bikes were difficult to ride. They were kind of snatchy and harsh, and the ergonomics were just kind of torturous. And this bike's just pretty conventional, really. It's compact and it pops and snorts and makes all sorts of weird noises, but it's actually really smooth and easy to ride, and the fueling is good, and the clutch feel is good, and the transmission's excellent, and the dash is excellent. All the stuff that should be premium is premium.
Well, it's a good thing if you're going to pay $28,000 for a motorcycle.
Yeah, that's fair.
Meanwhile, for $3,000 plus a couple of grand in repair parts, I'm pretty pleased, even without my ABS or my quick shifter or my electronic suspension or my electronic anything except fuel injection and ignition. This bike works really well.
The GSX-R did work really well. For a little while, anyway.
The K5 GSX-R is known for its reliability. However, this one does have a lot of miles on it, 55,000, at least when the odometer stopped working. And now it's making kind of an unpleasant noise. So I'm going to check the one thing that I can easily check, which is cam chain, because it has a manual cam chain tensioner. And hopefully that makes the noise go away. Otherwise, we might be in trouble. Quieter, or louder. Not actually noise I was hearing, but it's good to get one noise to go away. We got a little bit of cam chain noise to go away, but I don't think that was our problem. There's still the kind of rhythmic rattling coming from the lower forward portion of the engine. That's the noise. You hear that? That was not there when we bought it. I don't know, man. Doesn't sound healthy. We got an episode to make. We got YouTube audience jonesing to know which one's better, a 15-year-old superbike or a new superbike. And this, unfortunately, would answer the question pretty soundly.
As soon as I saw the toolbox come out, I couldn't resist going downstairs. I had to watch this train wreck unfold in person.
So yeah, the noise, I mean, we didn't notice it when we bought the bike, and we didn't notice it when we were riding it, but when you came to a stop, I mean, you even asked me, you're like, what is that noise?
That is what I said.
This is what you said. I had earplugs in, so it wasn't very prominent, but when we pulled in tonight, I gave it a listen, and it's not sounding good.
Ari never actually needs help working on a motorcycle, so I contributed by pointing out the obvious.
Of the two machines, the one that is making weird noises from the engine is, shockingly, the one with 55,000 miles on it. Basically ghost noise. Look at that. Oh my God. It couldn't be any juicier than that.
Oh my gosh. So this is the mechanism that's responsible for the electricity, and it's supposed to be bolted tight, and it's loose, and that's the noise we heard. Hallelujah. There is a God.
That is literally best case scenario.
Best case scenario is these bolts are loose. Worst case scenario is that bearing is loose, and then we are effed. And you thought you were just gonna get to rub it in my face with the old piece of shit.
isn't worth anything.
I can't. I'm blown away by the I mean, I guess we could take the stator cover off and like maybe there'd be like a loose bolt in there.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know.
Who wants to go buy a lottery ticket? This guy does.
All right, let's pack her up and go to bed. We got more adventuring to do tomorrow.
The next day, the GSX-R was back and better than ever. Zach seemed sad that he hadn't won by default, but it's hard to stay grumpy on a twisty road.
Unfortunately, it didn't last. Ari insisted we stop for a ridiculous test in downtown Bakersfield. Tape an oven thermometer to the inside of each of our legs to see which bike gets hotter in traffic on a 100-degree day. More horsepower usually means more heat, so you can probably tell where this is going.
Current temperature of my man meat is ambient, 100 degrees.
My inner thigh is at 106.
I set my temperature to 160 degrees, which is that for medium beef.
Normally in California, we'd split lanes to avoid melting in traffic. But being your humble servants of motorcycle testing, we stayed behind the camera truck and waited for the mercury to rise.
Woo! Jumping to 117 at this light.
Pretty warm. I'm at 120.
Oh, I bet you're gonna be boiling water with that thing.
I'm at 124. I am at 136 now.
Oh,
I'm at 145. I have reached rare beef.
how much of this do you think you can endure? Because I'm actually, my temperature is reading 131, but honestly, it's not really that hot for me.
Well, yeah. All right, I'm at 151. I'm now beef medium, according to the side of the thermometer. Whew. It's really pretty warm. Starting to suffer here. My heart rate's going up a little bit.
Oh my God, we gotta get this guy to some cold water. This is the price you pay for performance, Zach.
And I am paying.
Who knows how accurate $20 kitchen thermometers are, but Ari had made his point. 214 horsepower, along with header pipes under your buns, is a recipe for overcooked thigh meat. The Panigale would have to prove its worth elsewhere. This is the test that matters. We are at a race track. This is where these bikes belong, and we're going to settle it with a lap time showdown. 2020 Panigale V4 S versus K5 GSX-R1000. May the fastest bike win.
I am very curious to find out if my veteran superbike here, with a few choice modifications, which now includes fresh set of Pirelli slicks, can actually keep this brand new Panigale honest.
It's just more cheating. Like, the list doesn't end of the things that you...
Cheating, man. If a set of tires is all that it takes for this bike to do a competitive lap versus that bike, I want to know.
First things first, we're gonna warm up, scrub in Ari's cheater tires, shake the rust off.
Oh, exciting, exciting.
But agreed, we're taking it easy. We're just warming up here.
Oh, definitely. You know me, I need a reminder to ease into things. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we're gonna let these suckers eat.
Yeah! Oh my God, this is so much fun.
I'm missing that auto blip on the downshift, that's for sure. Slipper clutch doesn't appear to be working. Oh my God, you're disappearing. Come on inside.
Woo!
Ah, f***ing shifter, man. That's, I blew the corner. I screwed up my downshift. I have evidently become quite complacent in these recent years of riding with modern technology.
Wow, how was that for you?
Well, it's certainly exciting, and I guess I'd feel like a total stud if I was in like the B group of a public track day, but I'm not. I'm riding against you on a Panigale. I mean, the bike is old, but it is still a handful, and frankly, it's a little scary because I don't have any of the safety nets that I've come to perhaps rely on a little bit. I got nothing but myself to rely on.
Yeah, I have lots of safety nets. And
Just all of the safety nets.
I have all the safety nets, and I'm also nervous about trying to lay down a good lap
All
time
right.
for what it's worth.
Yeah.
When you light the fuse on a bike like this, it is like a freaking sci-fi jump to hyperspace, man. It is so, so fast, and I'm
Why they call them superbikes.
a little nervous. They are super bikes. To the competition
Yeah.
that we talked about, it is time for the lap time challenge.
Final test.
We said 5 laps.
5 laps.
Best lap time wins. No funny stuff, no shortcuts. I know how Jixer bros are.
Whatever, man.
So-
This is your test to lose. So why don't you go out there first and set that bar? Let's see what you got on your big fancy 214 horsepower. Ugh.
I wasn't ready to admit it to Ari, but the Panigale didn't handle perfectly in the warm-up. So, infinite electronic adjustments to the rescue. Or so I hoped.
This is what it all boils down to, people. We got our superbike comparison. Is it worth it? How far have we come? Ultimately, this is what's going to determine it, right? This is why sport bikes exist, to go quick through corners and around racetracks.
Okay, here we go. Got to try and put that air handling in its place.
Come on, the Ducati's gonna be faster, right? It is so much more powerful, and it's got all the technology. If the GSX-R can get within a second and a half, I will definitely consider that a win.
To anyone watching in Italy, I'm trying as hard as I can here. Come on, Penny. Stretch to the line. All right. I don't know, I think that might be it. Might be all I've got. Whew.
You look good out there, man. How'd it feel?
I mean, you gotta be focused, that's for sure. A lot going on, but yeah, I mean, it felt pretty good. It's like first couple laps probably were the best, and then the tires kind of fell off after that, but I don't know. I think that's the best I can do. I think you're up.
All right, man, my turn.
It was pretty intimidating to watch Zach fine-tune dozens of parameters on the Starship Bologna. My options were far more limited, but I made some small tweaks to my rusty adjusters and hope for the best.
Go time. All right, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility, honestly. You know what though? I'm gonna treat this as a joyride with a little extra ambition. Wheelie off the line because I got no wheelie control. Oh, sliding the bike, okay.
I'm a little bit nervous about this, you guys.
Slides out of the slicks. It means I'm going faster. Full throttle. Okay. Woo! Wow. Unadulterated performance and experience right there. I wouldn't give that up. Hell yeah. Woo! All right here, buddy. I don't care how fast I went. I wouldn't give that up for anything. That felt fun.
So you're saying you feel more alive?
Dude, so alive. I mean, I was pretty scared. Definitely pretty scared.
So it looked like you were hauling.
I mean, that was fun, man.
I guess we can, I mean, we're gonna have to check the time. We can just assume that the Ducati's faster.
Dude sounds a little nervous.
Nah, I mean, it's like, it's progress. So
Well, I'm curious. Let's go figure out what the times are.
okay.
Heck yeah. That was super fun.
This is normally when we would reveal the lap times, along with some flowery conclusion to our question about which bike is better. The problem is that when we saw the lap times, all we had were more questions. Questions that we're still trying to answer. Okay, well, here's what happened. Not the result I was expecting. I think it's safe to say, not the result that Ari was expecting. Probably not the result you were expecting either, although maybe you are now. The GSX-R from 2005 went faster around the racetrack than the Ducati Panigale by more than 1 second. Yeah, our minds are blown a little bit. And at the time, we were thinking probably the same thing you're thinking right now. No. No way, they screwed something up. What went wrong?
I would have loved to have just stood on the podium and gloated over Zach in his brand new Ducati. I was hoping I'd be within 1.5 seconds, but I didn't expect to go almost 1.5 seconds faster than the brand new bike. But the truth of the matter is, I was confused and curious about what the hell happened. We both were. So we've spent the last 2 weeks turning over every stone we can think of, trying to solve this lap time mystery.
So we took it very seriously, did a bunch of research, even went to friggin' Kinko's for crying out loud. There are a lot of factors, so buckle up, kids. Here we go.
The first thing we did after seeing the lap times was swap bikes to rule out riders as a variable. Lo and behold, Zach was faster on the Suzuki than he was on the Ducati, and I was slower on the Ducati than I had been on the Suzuki. We both agreed the Panigale was harder to ride and lacked the traction and stability of the GSX-R. What was the problem?
I figured the only explanation were those cheater slicks Ari had spooned on. So we put the GSX-R back on its street tires, the same top-of-the-line Pirelli Super Corsa SPs that come stock on the Ducati. Ari went out again, and what do you know? The Suzuki was still faster than the Ducati, even on identical tires.
And while I had previously replaced the GSX-R's 55,000 miles suspension and brakes, none of those new components came close to the price or premium quality of the V4 S hardware.
All that left us with was an actual problem with the Panigale. Convinced that something was wrong, we took the bike to a Ducati dealership to have them do a systems check for issues. There were none.
They suggested trying some different electronic settings, but we had experimented with this at the track, and nothing was off base enough to explain how the bike was beaten by a competitor made in 2005.
But Ducati also shared that the 2020 Panigale V4 had quietly been updated with softer spring rates to make the bike more comfortable on longer rides. According to our research and the suspension experts we spoke to, the new shock spring is way too soft for riders of our weight riding at our speed on a bike making that much power.
It feels a little silly to say that something as simple as a $110 shock spring could undermine the performance of a $28,000 superbike, but truthfully, it's the best explanation we've got. And it's a vivid reminder of just how important proper setup is at the track, especially with such huge horsepower figures.
It's also a friendly reminder that spec sheets don't tell the whole story, no matter what kind of bike you want. And maybe the Panigale underperformed a little bit. Then again, maybe the legend of the K5 GSX-R has some truth to it. Maybe, just maybe, Barry Henning was right all along. We need more superbike competition for that GSX-R.
I'm all for it, man. I have affectionately come to know this motorcycle as Dave, and we're going to keep him around. And yeah, I mean, this has been a real surprise of an episode of CTXP, and we hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.